Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining today's conference. The four of us are very excited to be talking to you about the 2020 digital trends that will make your business thrive in the US. First, let me introduce myself. I'll be the moderator today. So my name is David Azar. I'm the founder of Outsmart Lab. We're a digital marketing agency, and we specialize in driving more visibility, more traffic, and more sales to our clients. We work with a wide variety of clients from LVMH, Hilton, Miami Design District, e-gaming companies, healthcare institutions, insurance companies. In other words, pretty much anyone that is looking to scale their digital marketing programs. As everyone probably knows by joining this conference, the digital marketing world is changing extremely fast, which gives a lot of opportunities for people that are willing to kind of do the effort and stay on top of trends. And one of the big things we'll be talking about today is adopting emerging channels or different strategies or things that you maybe have not heard about as much, which always will give you a competitive edge in two ways. The first way is if you use adopting emerging channels, not only are the customers not going to be as used to seeing those type of ads and are going to engage with the content in a certain way, but also by using emerging channels, so whether it is in influencer marketing with TikTok or anything that you'll be doing, you'll get a lot of gratuity from the platform because they don't have as much advertisers, and so your ROI at the end is going to be much better. So before getting more into those subjects, let me introduce the three experts that we have the pleasure of having at the table. We'll start with you, Alejandra. So Alejandra Kaplan from Andromeda. She's a marketing and video production agency who's best known for their work with MTV Networks, BlackBerry Mobile, Sony Music, MasterCard, just to name a few. And we'll be talking to us a little bit more about video marketing and all of those questions that you might have. Sardar Azimov,
Hi.
Skiflab. Skiflab is a data marketing agency focused on profit growth using client and data-centric approach. So it sounds a little complicated, but once Sardar is going to talk about it, it's super fascinating, the things he does. So we're looking forward to this.
We'll make it easy.
We'll make it easy. And Antoine Forest, who's the founder of Stargazer, an influencer marketing agency focused on generating great content on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, in order to get more brand visibility and conversions. So hi, everyone. Very happy
Hi, thanks for the introduction.
to have you all
Thank
here.
you,
So
David.
let's get started with the first, I guess, the first questions. A lot of time we have clients, they always ask us, which opportunity should I follow? What platform should I get on? My competitors are doing something, it's working for them, it's not working for me. And a lot of time it's because marketers tend to focus too much on their sales strategies rather than what they should really be focusing on, which is the customer experience and why do customers buy from them rather than the competition. I always tell clients 50% of a campaign success is attributed to the quality of the traffic that comes to the site. But the other 50%, which we tend to forget a lot of the times, is especially when people don't know about you, is your brand values. What's your website? What's your general customer experience? What's the look? How do you talk to clients? How is your product displayed versus the competition? And so this is something that people tend to forget. And over the last few years, video has been extremely successful. And we've seen the rise of a lot of platforms such as TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. So Alejandra, you that work a lot with video production, what would be your advice in creating video content? And how can you decide also what type of content depending on the size of the company or such things?
Thank you, David. First of all, I want to begin by thanking Rachel and the FACC Florida for putting together this awesome event. You guys for sharing this table with me. I think we're going to have fun today. And for everyone that's tuned in right now, I see a lot of familiar faces here on the chat. So please leave your questions. We want to answer your questions at the end. We want this to be a session that's practical for you guys, okay? So let's start from the beginning. There's a lot that we could cover. But I want to start from considering those that maybe have a little experience making videos. So I would say that following your question, David, what's my advice for clients considering creating video content? I would say number one would be a positive mindset. Making video comes with the connotation that it's expensive, time-consuming, hard, and that's the worst thing that you can do for a creative process, right? And that actually makes it very difficult to come up with good ideas, right? So I would say, open your mind. There's a lot of new trends out there and just be open up, maybe try something that you didn't try before, right? Things are changing fast. So I would say that would be my number one piece of advice would be purpose. you should define what you're trying to achieve and create content for it, not the other way around. So I mean, I get a lot of clients that come to me with this very rigid idea of this one video that they want to make, right? And I would say, don't force any one video concept at the beginning. I would say, brainstorm, ask questions, and review what are your goals and what kind of video is the best way to go about it, right? I would say also, well, actually, number 3, have a distribution strategy. Guys, a video is a video. It won't play itself. So you need to figure out who's going to watch that video and how they're going to see it, right? There's on this table, you have Sardar, you have David, that are experts on making that video get and that message get to whoever it needs to get. The best analogy that I have for this would be a car with no wheels. Like, video is a car, it's beautiful, you can sit in it. Without wheels, you're not going anywhere. That thing is parked in front of your house for you to, you know, oh, it's so beautiful, the video I made, nobody else saw it, right? So I would say that those are the most important points for getting started. And there's one that's, to me, becoming for me, the biggest trend of 2020 since quarantine, and like we're getting used to kind of like communicating with one another. Share your secrets, right? Like, be yourself, share your knowledge. I would say, rather than just selling and market, desperate kind of like, you know, need to show your product, actually bring value to them by talking about things that matter to them, right? So I would say, for example, live streams, Q&As, webinars, answer their questions. They have questions, tackle those and make that opportunity to actually engage. That is, for me, the biggest trend.
Yeah. I mean,
that's it.
I think that's, I mean, content, like you said, value is very, very important. We see it. It's not about creating content to create content and delivering good message. And actually, something also, because there's different types of videos. I know that one question that I get a lot, and it's also an opportunity, at least in content marketing, when clients have businesses in different countries, or even if their audience in the same country actually speaks 2 languages, how would you go about this in terms of, because I know in terms of content, I always tell my clients, let's translate content, because then we're going to be ranking all those different search engines. What would be your take on video marketing with translation?
Well, communicating in the language of whoever you're talking to is going to be the most natural way to get someone's attention. That's it, right? If you speak French but don't speak English very well, then we're gonna be missing like an opportunity to actually connect in real life. So I would say translation is critical. Now, I know translation can imply a huge cost or a complication. It doesn't have to be that way. The technology today allows us to take your video as it is and transcribe it as text, and then create SRT titles to add captions to the video you already have out there. So you can have a translation today within the hour, right? So in terms of achieving like or reaching a larger audience, I think that you have no excuse. Yeah. Like, at least translation and SRT titles would be number 1. And then obviously, you know, dubbing and creating new pieces of content depending on the culture of each market, for sure. We can talk for hours about that, but I would say if you have a limited budget, translation, SRT captions are the way to go.
Yeah. Okay, great. I mean, that and especially makes your content even stronger if you can mix different media, video plus contents, and you have it in different languages from one piece of content and just translated, you get kind of 2, 3, 4, 5 different marketing strategies. You actually mentioned quarantine before. You mentioned also just sharing your knowledge. And I know we've been speaking a lot about this personally between you and I, but I mean, face-to-face interaction and networking has been very limited, which has seen a big spike in LinkedIn use. And I think that the usage of video definitely is helping for LinkedIn. What would be your suggestion to grow your LinkedIn profile and using video to kind of leverage that and hopefully open your business?
Okay, so this is going to be something actually that it's going to be on you, because you are my mentor for blogging. I started doing my blog at the beginning of the quarantine, and I was very scared because I was writing in English. I'm Venezuelan, soy venezolana. and writing in a different language was terrifying for me. And then little by little, I was trying to find these little, areas of knowledge that I thought I could share with other people, right? And then in talking to you, I realized that I confirmed what I knew. It's like the more you share your secret sauce, the more people are going to gravitate towards you. Position yourself as the expert, like no brainer. It's a no brainer. So for me, has been I don't know, for my blog, the Entrepreneur's Guide to B2B Video, has been the thing. I've seen the change. Like I've seen the uptick in interactions with my audience. Radical. Something I never thought I could do on LinkedIn, which was like so blue and rigid. No, it works. It works.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just the power of being willing to go in front of the camera, which I think some people might be scared of. But if you are able to do that and feel comfortable doing it, I mean, it's definitely helping.
Oh,
it's not easy.
Yeah. Now with the stories, with LinkedIn stories, like now there's no better chance to put yourself out there without the commitment of having to put something that's permanent, right? So yeah, you guys have no excuse.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do it.
I mean, content, it's key, especially now. When everything is more digital, people are spending so much more time on their phones. So content is definitely king. But what you said also earlier is it's really important to create just content that's valuable to the clients. It's not about just selling, because if people don't want to be sold to all the time. So it's more about showing like, this is what I'm doing. I do it really well. It's super complicated. There's all those things. Okay, you don't want to do it, come to me to do it. So, and I think that's a good transition into a question I had for you, Sardar, which you specialize in developing something that you called content market fit methodology, which
absolutely
in short words, which helps people understand the customer journey of a customer with your business, and then decide what type of content to produce. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you go about that and kind of how this can help all the watchers right now?
Absolutely. So before maybe I present this barbaric term, the content market fit, maybe I should spend like a minute introducing myself. So I spent the last 10 years in sales and lead generation positions. So most of my time I was working like how to generate, new leads, how to create cold outbound strategies, how to find the new people. And every time people were like saying, it's tough to have the content, it's tough to create the content that resonates, and it's tough to distribute the content. Exactly the same thing that you mentioned, Alejandro. And so as you know, there are two main strategies, like the inbound and outbound marketing. And the content is something that is normally owned by the marketing teams and for the inbound strategies. But the goal of the content, as you mentioned, David, is not to create the content just to create the content. The content, a good piece of content, has a purpose, and the ultimate purpose is to drive sales or leads. And this is what I do with my clients. Is I go from the product market fit to the content market fit. How to work from something that is real, the product, to something that is not there yet, the content that has to resonate with the audience. It's something that we do is that we use a lot of data gathering, data analytics, interviews with existing customers to acknowledge who are the best customers, what are the challenges or pains solved by your product, what are the different stages of customer journey, and how to create a different content that fits into the journey depending on the stage of their awareness. It's not the same type of content that you're going to share at the awareness stage, rather on the selling stage, So, and depending on the type of the product, on the audience, you will have multitude of different channels, different types of media. Is it going to be text, blog, video, whatever? Sometimes you need to just mix everything. And for the startups, sometimes it's not easy to know where to start, and when you don't have a lot of background in doing this, the easiest way to proceed is to start with the competitive benchmark. So the competitive benchmark is to analyze what their competition does, what works for them, what doesn't work, and specifically what should work for you depending on your objectives. So this is what this is how I help at least my clients to make sure at the end each piece fits into this giant puzzle, that will help the client understand what is the value proposition and to ultimately wanting to purchase the product or the service.
I think Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I'm sure a lot of people here on watching are probably familiar with this term, but a lot of the things that you do, you specialize in, which I think is really fascinating. Just knowing what you do is all the growth hacking strategies also that you put in place for your clients. It's not simply just creating a content piece and just having it live, because at the end of the day, this could be done not fairly easily, but anyone could do it. But it's really kind of the approach that you put onto it. And how do you make this scale much bigger by like doing growth hacking strategy? Can you talk to us a little bit more about this growth hacking versus me doing it versus you taking it on and doing it at a larger scale?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, I spent a lot of time doing some manual things in the past, and I was tired of this. You cannot scale. It works for products that are high priced, and when you do one sales and you're happy. When you have like a lower cost of products, you need to drive a lot of volume. You need to have the sales pipeline, regularly filled with those leads, and you cannot do it at scale if you're doing it manually. So this is when I started to learn what can be done, to somehow hack the growth, and this is where I started to specialize in it. So as you mentioned, there are different techniques that will help you to grow your audience based on the content that you already have. The real first question is that I have is, we need to understand what is the content and what are the channels that you use and that resonates with your final audience, because we can automate a lot of things. You can, for instance, you can do like clapping, liking, following, unfollowing, and commenting. Everything this can be automated, but it has to be perfect. It has to feel genuine and not robotic. And for this, I have a set of different tools that I use to make sure that every action makes sense. For instance, for LinkedIn, you mentioned, Alejandra, the different tactics that you have to grow your network based on the content that you produce. But once your content is produced and your distribution is limited because, well, your network is kind of growing, but not that much, what can you do? How can people find you? The first thing we can do on LinkedIn first is to be part of engagement pods. Engagement pods is something that you can join and then make sure that people who are commenting and liking automatically, by the way, are fitting your criteria. For instance, if I'm in marketing pod, I will make sure that people who want to like and comment automatically are part of this marketing pod.
How long does it take to implement like a strategy like this?
In a matter of days.
Okay, nice.
So it's really the time to market is it's simple. So I mean, we need to know what is happening at the beginning, what's the current status of channels, of media that you have. And once we have it, implementation is easy. And the follow-up is easy. And there is not only LinkedIn, you can do the same thing with Instagram. You can follow, unfollow, you can like, you can identify influencers, which is the strength of Antoine. I guess he will explain more in a few minutes. But the goal is by analyzing a large set of data, we can extract people, who are considered as being opinion leaders, especially on LinkedIn, because you can hashtag your post, etc. And by identifying people who are using your key hashtag, you can maybe try to partner with them to make sure you can use their network to be seen. You see, and the same thing for the Instagram and other networks.
And I think that's a great advice. And for anyone, whether you are a startup, whether you are a really large business, I know most of my clients that are larger businesses, they use some strategies like these, and that's what's keeping them on top. But also smaller businesses, that's what helping them get to where the competitions are with less resource. So I think if you can be smart, if you can be thinking out of the box, and you have those automation, because at the end of the day, it just ends up being resources, right? That's how you can compete. So if you find ways to kind of automate that, that's definitely
the goal is what you said: decrease acquisition cost, improve the return on the marketing investment, and make everyone happy. Drive profits and drive sales.
And I think another sorry you don't if I interrupted you.
No worries.
Because I think something that to transition into something else, which I think is also very valuable for smaller businesses, but also big businesses, because everyone has access to this. But it's kind of a channel where advertisers are thinking about that channel as being a little bit outdated. I'm talking about email marketing. But as marketers, as digital marketers, we know that this is today one of the most efficient in terms of reachability, because everyone receives email, even if it's a scam, you don't really think about it, but you end up reading it. And basically the ones that you actually, I don't know, let's say I receive West Elm emails, for example, I don't think of them as spam because I know I like it, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing as the other spam, and I read it the same way. So the reachability is really high, open rate is really high. So, and I know one thing you do that's actually really interesting for small or large businesses is you help businesses build an email list and qualify their existing email list. Can you talk to us more about this and how that can be leveraged for businesses?
Absolutely. So again, this whole knowledge that I gathered throughout the last 10 years was based on the lead generation strategies, you know. And the very first channel, and actually the only channel that we used, was email. And a lot of people who use ads will say email is dead. Email is not dead, and LinkedIn is not dead. You know, even though you receive like thousands of invitations per day on LinkedIn, yes, it's boring because people are not targeting, people are not doing their job. The same thing is for email. The email marketing has been there, and I actually have a few great figures on the efficiency of the return of the email marketing that you will actually like, Alejandro. So the first thing is you know that the studies, you know what they are. It depends who they perform the study and what is the goal of those statistics behind. You know, what is the data analyzed. But anyway, I will share with you the numbers I found for the June 2020. 81% of small businesses use email marketing to acquire new sales. People who use everyone does. This works especially in B2B area, obviously. In B2C is less easy. I will explain to you later how to do it. But in B2B, it's really easy to do it. If you add a video, which is produced by Alejandra, you will get a 300% increase of click rate. If you use a targeted, title in your email, the open rate will be higher. And the last, not the least, at least 87% of all marketers use the email to distribute the content. We discussed a lot about the distribution, about the channels, etc. But email is the easiest, the simplest, and the cheapest channel that you can have. Anyway, sure. The second question that you asked, how to grow your list. Again, it's cool if you have your content, but again, if the reach is smaller, you need to somehow grow it. You can either pay someone, to do a lot of ads and hopefully to have someone who will click on the button, then fill in the form, then get an email. Hopefully the email will not be a junk email that people now tend to use when they just download some white paper brochures or whatever. And then what's next? So what we can do is that we can we help actually clients to perform a list generation based on, again, automation of extraction of data based on LinkedIn. So we use a lot of Sales Navigator. We define the ideal persona, the type of companies. We extract the data. We use another type of tools to enrich the data, and then we get the email addresses. The last step is to verify the deliverability of the email, is to make sure that your email will finish in their email box. What we can also do is that if you have like a large database of emails that you have gathered throughout the last 10 years, but you're not sure what the quality is, what can also help is to clean it, standardize it, enrich it, to make sure once you send the emails, they're targeted, they will not end up in the spam box, and ultimately we can also help you even to find the LinkedIn profile so that you can connect with them automatically afterwards if you wish to. So yeah, this is for the B2B part. For the B2C part, it's more complicated, but it's also doable. For the US, not for the Europe because of the GDPR, but yeah. For the US, what we can do is that, let's say, I'm seeing a question here, like a CPA accountant. So you're looking for people who, I don't know, are small businesses, and they use a hashtag small business, on Instagram, just to say, I'm a small business and I'm working in WeWork or whatever. And what we can do is that we can extract a lot of posts with the key hashtags, and then based on on the different number of occurrences that you used this specific key hashtag, we can define the fit with your criteria. So once we have defined those criteria, we have extracted the data on the profiles. Sometimes people, they indicate the emails to be contacted on Instagram. But clicking every time on the email to find out what the email is, it's time consuming. So there are tools that can help you also to extract the email that you can use also for your marketing campaigns. This can also work for the B2C and the B2B part.
We can hear you, David.
Yeah, you're out.
You're.
Is it good? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, no, this is tremendous information. I mean, so much you can do with those growth hacking strategy, and I think everyone should talk to you to understand how to utilize that, because that's definitely a big channel that people tend to forget.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. No.
I'm just reading one quick question on the left side. The legal issues in the US with unsolicited emails, no, as long as you just put unsubscribe. This is not the case in the Europe, but again, you can do this in Europe. Even in Europe for B2B, you can send unsolicited emails if you can justify the product market fit and the content market fit. Explain why your product should be interesting in this person in this company. And we also help the clients to justify the whole workflow of identifying the data, and then in case of control, we justify what was the workflow and how to make sure once the workflow was justified to create a piece of content that will raise the interest from the reader.
Yeah, I mean, this is really another level of email marketing, which obviously talking to people like you, talking to people like Alejandra for video, and transitioning to Antoine for influencer marketing. All of those channels, at the end, digital marketing could be done. Anyone can do video, anyone can do influencer marketing, anyone can send an email. But the difference between a campaign that's going to be extremely efficient and a campaign that's done by anyone that has no experience, the results can be, so something that didn't work for you could work if you use an expert that knows exactly, because it's all those little details that's going to make it super efficient. And I think another industry where that's very, very true is what Antoine works in, which is influencer marketing. We've been hearing a lot about influencer marketing over the last few years. People super happy with campaigns, super less happy. But anyways, it's definitely a trend that's bound to continue, and it's working for a lot of our clients, whether it is on TikTok, it is on YouTube, on Instagram, even Twitch. Any campaigns. And you see a lot of businesses that are actually switching most of their marketing budget towards influencer marketing. So Antoine, maybe can you tell us a little bit more about influencer marketing, what you do, and educate everyone here?
Absolutely. Can you hear me, guys? I have like mic in my hand. It's like, okay.
Very, very curious. I like it.
Great. So yeah, if you're not familiar with influencer marketing, it's basically a type of social media marketing that uses endorsement and product mentions from individuals like you and me who have a dedicated social following and are viewed as experts within their niche, within their industry. And so we call them social influencers. Some of them can be micro influencers with a small, but most of the time engaged audience. So I say small, but it can be thousands of people. Still, it's still an audience. And some others are considered as celebrities with millions of followers on social media, such as Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You said it, David. So in other words, we can consider them as ambassador for companies, or it's basically doing word of mouth, but globally and online. So what is important to understand is that those social influencers are, first of all, great content creators. And we talked a lot about, content creation, and they thanks to their personality, who they are, but also thanks to the content they created on social platform, they've been able to create a community that they can, monetize afterwards. And I do see that the audience, we have a lot of different type of individuals and businesses. And most of the time we think influencer, okay, it's for products, physical product, is for beauty product, is with lifestyle influencer. But why not as a real estate broker, I could not do a promotion with an influencer. Why not, as a an accountant, I could not use the power of social influencer to promote my services? As soon as they have an audience, now we have access to all the demographic information, all the insight of the influencer. We know exactly who is the audience. And so you can use the content they create and their influence to promote your services. It's basically for everyone and every businesses.
Yeah, and even just content creation, I think I know I have a lot of clients. For example, Hilton is a good example. We take care of all their hotels in the Caribbean and Mexico and Colombia. While doing a photo shoot of all of those venues would cost so much money. They have 20 venues. By a photo shoot, it would be so expensive. Finding small influencers in those places that take really beautiful content, the whole photo shoot costs pretty much nothing, and you have a whole content shoot. So there is the audience, which is super important, like you said. It's also just the content also, and people tend to forget that content part into influencer marketing. So what would you say are the main reasons that people should work with influencer? You answered some of them, but mostly I think the question we also get a lot is, how do you measure the success of a campaign?
No, yeah, absolutely. So why you must work with social influencer. You said it, content creation, you need content every day. And especially right now, you need a lot. It's about volume, because you need to post every day on your Instagram, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, whatever it is, you need content. And, content creators can create great content, videos or pictures at a very affordable price. You can have, higher, bigger influencer that costs more, but you can start working with local influencers. Some people are so great with, an iPhone or a camera. You can use their talent and get content for your business. The second thing is, as a business, you need to be where the attention is. And right now, the attention is on social media. On the average user on TikTok spend 1 hour per day on the app. Wow. If you add this to Instagram, Facebook, people use social media every day. From 13 to 65 years old, you're on social media at one point. People don't watch TV anymore. They are on social media. They are on their mobile device. So you need to be there as well. And you have two ways to be there. Or you can run ads, which is great. Or you can work with social influencer, again, for any businesses. So you have to be where the attention of the people is. And influencer marketing is efficient because, and it works because it uses the high amount of trust that social influencers have built with their following, with their audience. And the recommendation from them serve as a form of social proof to your brands, and to your potential customers. You have, I would say, different ways to measure the efficiency of a campaign. The first one we're going to look at is really the social performances. So what stays online and especially on the social media itself. So obviously the total impression you got from an influencer post, but also all about the engagement. What you want is to create the conversation within your audience and the audience of the influencer. So all about the comments, the like, the share. Also, you can look at the amount of user-generated content that has been created thanks to that influencer. Because you have the influencer creating content for your brand, but thanks to that, other people also going to create content about your hotel or your product. So you have content created by user, again, like you and me. You can also run survey before and after the campaign to measure the awareness of your brand. Did people know better about your services, about your brand after influencer talked about it? And the second stage is to look at the direct response performances. So the number of clicks you got that goes to your landing page, your website. Also the number of conversion. It can be any type of conversion. Of course, you think about sales, but if you are a mobile app, it's going to be app installs. It can be, again, to answer to a survey. So we look at the number of this conversion. And the last one is the revenue, because yes, with influencer marketing, you create great content, you create awareness, but you also generate direct revenue from the influencer posts.
And people trust. I mean, even I think everyone, if we follow someone, we're going to trust them saying something is good. And at the end of the day, influencers don't just promote things to promote things. They have some kind of they accept that it's they like it, and so that's also a proof of concept for people that are going to be purchasing. So, and I think the next question I have, which also we can maybe answer Chantal's question because it goes kind of with it, is for the people that are here, is everyone hears about influencer marketing, but how do you actually end up working with influencers? What are the different ways? Is it always money? Is it can you give things? What are the different things? And just to answer her question, what is the difference between a brand ambassador and an influencer?
Yeah, to answer to Chantal's question, I will say that a social media influencer is an individual that created a community online, and you can work with that person. It can be only one time, get a post, get some content. When we talk about ambassador, it's still it can be the same person, but you're looking for a long-term relationship. So you're not going to ask only the individual to create content. They can be something that they can provide a service in real life, you know, not only online. They can show up to different events. Basically, they are much more involved in your business or in your promotion or even in the creation of your product. We do see that more and more the beauty company use influencer not only to get a promotion, but they use influencer because they are so close to the audience that they want them to actually participate in the creation of their new product. So that's how we can make the difference between ambassadors and influencers. What is the involvement that that person's going to have with your company? And so what are the different ways you can work with an influencer? To start, if you have a product or service, just try to work with micro-influencer and offer your service for free. We call that gifting. You give a service for free, it's like bargain. And in exchange, you get a promotion on their YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok account. That's the best way to start with influencer marketing, and also the most affordable. Obviously, you know, all the relationship with the influencer, the back and forth communication can be time consuming, but if you do it as a small scale to start, you can do it by yourself. Contact the people and offer them, hey, do you want to pass by my restaurant, get a meal, you know, or even do you want to get my services for free? I'm a great accountant. You know, I need promotion on your LinkedIn. You can do that and start like this. Then when you start working with a little bit bigger influencer, the influencer do not accept product or services only. They do want to get paid a flat fee. So it can start at $100, $200, but still you need to pay something. And it makes sense. You know, those guys spend time creating content. It's still, you know, time. So they want to get cash, a flat fee, plus most of the time the services. Another thing you can do, especially for e-commerce websites, you can try to do commission-based deals. So you tell the influencer, listen, we're going to pay you $100, still a flat fee, to do a promotion on your Instagram. And then we're going to give you 15% commission on every sales you generate thanks to your coupon code. That's a great way to increase the commitment of the influencer, because obviously they want to make money. We do that a lot at Stargazer, working with also mobile application, and we pay the influencer per install. Because, you know, it's free to download most of the app, and we give them only $1, $2, $3 per app installs. But actually, the influencer can make more money only through those commission than if they were getting a flat fee. So commission-based deal is something very common. It's like kind of affiliate marketing as well, and you can try to do that. I always recommend to try to do a combination of flat fee and commission based, because, you know, when you ask someone, okay, promote my service, promote my product, and you get only $10 per sales, you know, it's hard to generate sales. So you need to give them incentive to try and promote your product at first. You can, if you're a retailer here in Miami right now and you want, you know, influencer to come to your place, offer them, as we call, freebies, services, product for free. I talked about it, but that's a great way also for a physical retail business. And finally, last way, something we don't think about, but it's here, is to do B2B influencer marketing. We always think about B2C, but you can work with people on LinkedIn. And those guys are influencers. They have thousands of people following the post, like Alejandra said, or David. They're providing great content on LinkedIn. Why not? If I'm selling a software or any type of professional services, why not partnering with those guys to get promotion on LinkedIn as well? B2B influencer marketing is definitely the future also of influencer marketing, and we do see that more and more.
Great. Well, thank you for this answer. I think that wraps up pretty much everything. We're going to go through the questions. So first, thank you to the three of you for your answers. Thank you for the conference in general. I hope everyone that was listening learned a lot. That I mean, there's so much that you can do with digital marketing. I think we could each here speak for hours about it. But if you have any more questions, we all have our booth. Feel free to come see us. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. And I think we're gonna start by answering some of the first ones that we had. So I'll go with when we were talking about video, a question for Alejandra. When we were speaking about translation, it's a question from Marine Lavo.
Mm-hmm.
When you speak about translation, do you have programs that you do that does that, or do you recommend a human translator? And what is the cost for a 5-minute video?
Well, really good question, because there's sometimes content that's just the language nature of the content can be translated easily by trust Google Translate for that, but there's definitely services out there that are very cheap. They charge by the word, and you can get it translated within the hour very quickly. But if, for example, if you're a CPA, or if you have a professional service that's very technical, I'll rather maybe try to do a first pass with a service and then do a second pass with an expert. That doesn't have to be a translator, but someone that's fluent on the language that you want to translate to, and then that person can tell you, you know what, that for example, for the word click in Latin America, across all the content, the countries in Latin America, it has a different meaning, right? So even something as simple as the word click, So I would say do 2 passes, yes. Depending on the nature of your content, if it's very technical, definitely go with an expert that can help you make sure that what you're saying in that other language, it makes sense and it's understood by the audience.
All right, thank you. Going to the next question from Anthony here, Anthony Ginter. I'm not very much involved in social media, even not at all, to be honest. When launching a new product, should I be the one to carry the digital media exposure as the CEO, or should I choose someone else in the company that knows how Instagram, Facebook, etc. work? I think I can start inserting it, and maybe if you guys wanna jump in, because our expertise is really doing 360 campaigns. So I always tell my clients, it's not about just doing one channel. It's really, really important to understand that digital marketing, it's about the number of exposures. So Antoine mentioned it a little bit with influencer marketing also. But as you think about your experience, most likely what's going to happen, you might see an ad on TV, and then you're going to see the same ad on Facebook, and then you're going to be like, wow, I really like this product. It looks cool. Let me see if it's a legitimate business. You're going to Google it. And so if you're not really present on all of those platforms, you're going to lose. It's not that your campaign's not working. It's just that you weren't present at the moment of conversion. So it's really important to understand, to kind of create that customer funnel, something Sardar also mentioned a little bit before. And I think going with experts, I mean, there's different pricing, obviously. There are some agencies that are more expensive than others. Doing it in-house is also a solution if you're able to have someone that's really good at doing the things. The thing is, things change so fast. I mean, some of the things we're talking about, Antoine mentioned B2B influencers, something I barely even heard about a year and a half ago. The things Sardar is speaking about, I'm pretty sure not a lot of people had heard anything about those growth strategies, which are really awesome. So I think it's really hard to stay at the top of things, and usually people know their business. I know me personally, working with my agency, we always love working with someone at the business that knows the business, that answers, that gives us all of the information, and we take it and then we translate it into digital form. So I think it's always good as a CEO that you promote your business, for sure, because people are looking at it. So I don't think you should not do it. But in terms of the product itself, the launch itself, I think it's really something that needs to be thought about more as a 360 campaign, and have people that know how to do it as well. I don't know if you guys have anything.
Yeah, I do agree. Maybe I'll add a couple of sentences on this one. Definitely having your own page is good, but more, I would even start thinking as a corporate, as a company, what is the strategy that I want to have? Who my client is. Are they actually on the social media? Yes. How much time they spend on it? Maybe it's better to be on LinkedIn. Maybe it's better to be on Instagram. Is it the long-term sales that takes like 6-7 months, or is it like one-time purchase? It takes like $50 to go to the website and just purchase it. All those questions need to be answered, and that's why the strategy needs to be adapted for each client and each context. And my answer would be to work on 2 different levels: on the corporate level, to create an image of the company, and then on the second level, you can also promote your own products behind.
Yeah.
And just to add, I think you need to, if you get an expert, the selection of that expert needs to be linked to the social media you want to be. I take an example. Tomorrow, if you want to go on TikTok, where you have a young crowd, Gen Z on it, just work with a kid of 18 years old that's gonna know the platform better than you, and you're gonna learn with that kid, I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. And for all the different social media, you're gonna have experts. You need to have someone that resonates with the audience of the social media platform. That's super important.
Yeah, that's a good advice. Good advice. Thanks. Next question from Marine again. I'm guessing this was for you, Sardar, when you were talking about the different things that you can do. Are you working with single entrepreneurs, and how do you bill? Per hour, per objective? Let's say I want to get X amount of followers.
Yeah, I'm flexible. It all depends on the context and the objective. With some clients, we have like a monthly. I spend 10 hours with them. For other clients, it's like project based. First, we finish this project. It takes me this type of hours. Then we move to the next project. For the other clients, we can work on objective based, saying we need to to hit this milestone and achieve this first, and then I'll give you the code. It all depends on the context. So to answer your question, I work with all type of companies, the small ones, the bigger ones. There is a product for everyone.
The best is probably to go to your booth after this and explain a little more what you're looking for, Marine, and he can probably answer a little better. So Cyril, I know we answered it. Do you think this can work for professional services company like CPA accountants? I think you've answered it. I don't know if you want to add anything, but answer was pretty much yes. You just need to find the right angle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll go to Pascal. He wants a question about, is Twitter dead? I personally don't think it's dead.
It's not dead. It's not dead.
Different purposes. It just depends. It's like, if it's a matter of audience, it's where they hang out. Reddit, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. There's so many places. You just need to know where your audience hangs out. That's it.
And to answer this question, I think Twitter can be used to identify the influencers, like in B2B. So this is what Antoine started to mention. And also, I have a real good example of how data coming from Twitter can be used to actually to redesign completely your product. There was a tea company from the UK. They noticed that the average persona that was buying the tea was over 55 years old. And they wanted to acquire new customers, the younger ones. But the package, anything was not appealing to them. So what they did, that they extracted a huge amount of data mentioning tea from Twitter and then analyzed it to see what actually resonates with the user. And then they created a product that was appealing to this customer base. So there was no past experiences with the younger personas because no one was buying them, and then this is how they adapted the business. They created a new segment, a new product just based on the reality of the data coming from the Twitter. It can be Twitter, it can be Instagram, it can be LinkedIn. Data is there. You just need to know how to get it, how to read it, and how to analyze it to make it actionable.
I think this what you said about knowing which channel which platform your customers are on, I think is key, because I'll give you an example. We have a client, they work in mental health. Okay, so pretty complicated to kind of find people that are depressed. Well, actually, when you look at Twitter and TikTok, those are this is where most of the mental health conversation are happening. And people actually happen to say, like, I am depressed. I was tweeting the hashtag, and things are pretty sad, suicidal thoughts and things like this, where So technically, if you just scour Twitter, you can find your potential customers if you were obviously a mental health institution, but that's true about anything. So it's more about understanding what the need is, finding where the audience is. So TikTok, I don't think is dead. And I also think that TikTok, one of the reasons we use TikTok, sorry, I mean Twitter.
That is not dead.
Twitter.
Quite the opposite.
It's also to increase the reach. That's something that a lot of people don't really think about. But everything you do by just sharing it to Twitter at the same time, people are reading it. And it's extra clicks, it's extra views, it's extra everything, which in the end might turn into a conversion or a sale. So definitely keep using Twitter. And Twitter is and has been for the last 10 years the #1 source of information in terms of live data. And that will always happen. I was yesterday at dinner with friends wanting to watch a video, and it was not live on the site yet. I looked on Twitter, boom, the video was there. So it really is something that's not going to really move, and it's just about the question of using it at the right time, I think. Let's go to another question. Cyril, I think, yes, you should definitely get away from the Minitel and go to digital marketing. I think that's even though Minitel is one of the arts, yeah, in terms of arts and things like this, it could be good to stay on the Minitel. That was pretty fun, the Minitel. I remember that. Okay, I think that's pretty much all the questions I have, unless I forgot one here.
Yeah, I see a question here from Marine. She was asking about the purchasing email list. I definitely do not recommend purchasing email list because, as I mentioned, you don't know how fresh the data is and where does it come from. And if you did purchase an email list, the first thing I would do is to cleanse it and to make sure that you will get any deliverability issues afterwards, because the worst thing you can do, you could do, is that to spam the people. But the second thing is to hinder your sender deliverability health, what they call it, health rate. So do not send the emails to the people who are left the companies, to people who are using their personal emails, but from like disposable email addresses. And you should know that a lot of email lists, when you purchase it, there is a spam trap because they have to put it there. So meaning that the email providers will know that you have purchased it, and they will automatically put you in the spam box.
So you wouldn't even if you think that you have a good deal on an email list, that we send it to you, you filter it, and then we use that. You wouldn't say that's a good idea? It
is. Afterwards, but you need to spend quite a time, listening, making sure that it's crystal clear. All
right, cool. Well, I see one last question, which is about the difference between promoting the digital strategy around a product versus a service. I think that's a great question. I think it's also a lot about what your service or your product is. One thing I tend to say is services. Usually, we're going to try to go a lot with content. Trying to answer what people are looking for in order to get your service. So I'll give you a simple example. Let's say you do corporate accounting. Well, maybe we're going to write an article that's going to be how do you calculate corporate taxes, right? And so people will Google this, how to calculate corporate taxes, get to your website where the answer is going to be written on how to do it. And obviously you're not going to want to do it, and most likely you're going to contact that company. So I think it's a lot more based on content. Versus a product, to me, is more based on the product and direct action and direct spends and kind of the brand around it, making sure that the brand values are there, that you explain exactly what your product does, and that every source of traffic that you get to your site is very likely to purchase and to convert. That would be my view on it. I don't know if you guys want to.
I will also say that matters a lot to have a clear understanding. The person is going to you, whether it's a product, a service, or God, it doesn't matter. It's like, if you have the understanding of why that person is needing something, and you can articulate that in the form of content or whatever, they will come to you. So it's all about the strategy. It's all about having clarity of the conversation. It's not just your product and pushing a product. It's about pushing a solution for someone else. That's not you. It's someone else that you don't even know, right? So you need to kind of get in the head of that person and understand what is a person's need, what is the pain point, right? So I would say that too.
Exactly, and especially today in the changing world, as you mentioned, David, everything changes so fast. There are hybrid models where services sold as a product, and product is sold as a service. You know, like especially in the software, so as you can see, the software as a service. But then I have been seeing service as a software, exactly the opposite. You know, people were selling their service throughout the software. So, I mean, I had to say it, you know, you need to know who you're targeting, what are the pains that you're solving, and what value do you bring. It's all about the value. It's all about helping your customer to solve a problem, you know, with your product, with your solution, whatever it is. That's why we call it problem solving and not product selling, you know.
I think that's a great way to end it. Beautiful.
Look at him. Wow. You're good.
All right. Well, great. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alejandra. Thank you, Antoine. Thank you, Sardar.
Okay, take the time right now, guys.
Thank you, David.
Let's see you guys on the booth. Come to the booth. Meet. Look for us on.
Please do.
With us. Send us everybody that was here. Please, we want to hear from you. Okay.
And thank you, David, for the moderation. It was awesome. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Yes,
Thank you,
David,
guys.
you rock. Thank you.